In this video, I want to talk a little bit about how to build a long-lasting jiu-jitsu career as an amateur, as a working professional. Now, I'm aware that there is a whole lingo about, intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic. I'm not going to go into that, first of all, because I'm not really qualified to talk about that. I am just going to give you what I think are a few reasons of what I consider sort of successful reason to build a long-lasting jiu-jitsu career, and what to me are ineffective reasons to actually keep training for many, many years. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what I consider to be the wrong reason, as it were. First of all, get a black belt. Now, I said this before, that really shouldn't be what drives you to training every day. If that's what drives you, you're going to get very frustrated very quickly. And the other thing is that obviously nobody cares what belt you are, really. I know that as a white belt, it might come as a shock because, oh my God, it's a black belt. Nobody cares if you're a black belt, okay? It just doesn't play any role whatsoever. If you're good, well, nobody cares if you're a black belt. If you're bad, nobody cares if you're a black belt. And guess what? If you're a blue belt and you're good, nobody cares if you're a blue belt. You're still good, okay? And vice versa. So the point should never be the belt, okay? Smash people. That's another probably not very healthy way to approach jiu-jitsu. Probably won't get you very far. Eventually you're going to get old. Eventually you're going to get maybe overweight, maybe injured. Your ability to smash people will decrease over time. Young athletes will sort of pour into the gym, and you're probably not going to be able to smash people very often, especially because probably as a working professional, you're going to be training anywhere between maybe 2, 3, 4 times a week, and you might be, facing people that train 2 to 3 times a day, okay? And then they could be 15 years younger than you. Of course, very different topic if you're law enforcement, if you're working in clubs, and that's a very different conversation. Another, what I believe to be a wrong reason to compete, and this could be a little bit more controversial, is to compete. Okay, I have a friend who was his black belt, very successful competitor, and his whole drive for training was to those few minutes in front of a judge, in front of a referee on the mat in competition. Got a series of catastrophic injuries, had to stop competing. Now, he basically quit the sport. Now he barely trains at all. It's a bit sad because he actually lost touch with a sport that was, a very healthy part of his life. And because he was motivated exclusively by competition, now he's barely training anymore, okay? Competition, it's a great motivator for training, for everyday training, potentially very intense training, but will only get you so far because you can get catastrophic injuries. And you don't know this, it could just sort of happen to you. You can get old. You can get, some medical condition that prevents you from competing. You never know what can happen. And if that's what motivates you to train, then you might go very far. But if you are, let's say, over 30, if you're a working professional, if this is not where your salary comes from, I wouldn't put all my eggs in that particular basket, okay? Keep competition as an extra thing, maybe to keep you extra motivated during very brief periods of time, like a training camp or a couple of months in which you really push the pace. Maybe you go, lifting, or you do some cardio and you just sort of, cut some weight. But try to keep it sort of a very goal-oriented motivation. Don't let competition to be the overall reason for which you're training jiu-jitsu, okay? Let's talk a little bit about what should motivate you. First of all, have a great time. I've talked about this in another video. Having fun is the prime motivator for anything, okay? If you're having a good time, if you're going to training every day, it's just going to be easy. It doesn't even come it won't even be a cost. You just go to jiu-jitsu because you have fun. That's it. It's as simple as that. The other thing that I think will really help you building a long-lasting jiu-jitsu career is this drive towards never stop getting better at something. Okay, and this is something that you can do regardless of your physical condition, regardless of your age, regardless of your injuries. If your goal is to get better, you can always get better. Okay, you don't need to be competing. You can always be a little bit better compared to what you were yesterday. And it sounds like a trope, but it is true. Loads of people Usually they get to purple belt and they sort of stop learning because they kind of have their game and that's kind of that. And then it's like, like from here on is just sort of getting, sort of refined. But, you can always get better. You can always learn new things, and you can always learn new games, and you can always improve on your current skill set. And this is a great motivator that will lead you very, very far, and it will go beyond, the success that you have in competition. Okay? So this drive towards learning, I think it's gonna take you super far. A third element that I would say, my experience helps people to keep training for very, very long periods of time in their lives, is to build a community. Okay, Jiu-Jitsu is a sport, obviously it's not a team sport exactly, but it's kind of a weird middle ground between, like an individual sport and a team sport, because you do train with people every day. It's often the same crew, and you end up, having basically, there's a social aspect to Jiu-Jitsu that is, it's very hard to miss. Okay, if you build a community in your gym, and it turns out that when you're going to the gym, when you're going to training, actually you're also using it as an excuse to hang out with your friends, that will go very far, because you can start nerding out with your friends about position. You can watch matches together, you can share positions. There's one of my students talks about an armed race. It says, well, if I miss a couple of days of classes, it's like, oh my God, like I'm behind. Now I come there and like all the people are, they know more than I do. And, because you build a community, and there's a sense in which there's sort of a healthy drive towards progress together. And this is really something that propels people forward for many, many years at a time.